Is someone going to tell Trump that there was already low-income housing in the Palisades that didn't ruin the community over the last several decades, but it was destroyed, leaving hundreds of hardworking families and seniors on fixed income scrambling after rent prices skyrocket after the fires? See, in addition to around 600 apartments in about 40 apartment buildings that were lost in the fire, there were also 328 mobile homes in 2 mobile home parks that are gone, both of which were governed by the Mellow Act, which ensures affordable housing in coastal communities. This is deeply personal to me because I used to visit one of my closest friends in the Tahitian Terrace mobile home park where she lived until the fire destroyed everything she owned. This was not Section 8 housing, but it was a place where seniors could live on a fixed income, where working families like firefighters and small business owners could actually afford to live in proximity to where they worked. As of right now, one of the parks has been cleaned up, but the other one hasn't been, and residents in both parks don't know if they will ever be able to return home. But there's a bill, SB 749, that will be voted on in the state legislature next month that would require park owners, if they were going to close or convert their parks, to first offer it at a fair market value to resident organizations or qualified nonprofit housing entities.
So today is Charlie Kirk's memorial service, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't been able to keep up with everything that's going on today, right? But I did decide to tune in, and when I tuned in, I heard from Stephen Miller. Now, I thought I was about to hear some very, very positive things about Charlie Kirk coming from Stephen Miller, but after I started listening to him, I started to feel like he was attacking me or attacking people, and it's just not, I don't know, it's just not making any sense.
Millions of Americans all across this land who are gathered in sadness and sorrow to mourn Charlie Kirk, but also to dedicate ourselves to finishing his mission and achieving victory in his name. The day that Charlie died, the angels wept, but those tears have been turned into fire in our hearts. And that fire burns with a righteous fury that our enemies cannot comprehend or understand.
So my first read of that is, one, I didn't hear Stephen Miller quote anything that Charlie Kirk said that is inspiring him to be a better person. Instead, it just seemed like he was unleashing all kinds of anger against his enemies.
And our enemies cannot comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve, our passion. Our lineage and our legacy hails back to Athens, to Rome, to Philadelphia, to Monticello. Our ancestors built the cities. They produced the art and architecture. They built the industry. Erica stands on the shoulders of thousands of years of warriors, of women who raised up families, raised up city, raised up industry, raised up civilization, who pulled us out of the caves and the darkness into the light. The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us.
And you just can't help but wonder, in his world, who are the enemies, right? Because the suspect, from what we've all been told, has been captured. And what we've all been told is the suspect was working alone. So the question is, who are these enemies that Stephen Miller is talking about? And why couldn't he at least show Charlie Kirk some more respect and say something positive about him and his legacy? It's just not, in my opinion, it's really not making any sense at all. Maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but I haven't been keeping up with it all day long, and then I tune in and I see Stephen Miller saying all of that, and I'll be honest with you. It just means it makes me not want to be a part of it.
Okay, we got to talk about the Trump session that we're in. I'm going to try to tie a bunch of different economic issues together because one issue always impacts another when it comes to the economy. Right now, we're going to talk about the Trump administration slapping on a fee of $100,000 to a skilled worker who wants to come here on an H-1B visa to work as a doctor, as a scientist, as an engineer, as an IT tech, you name it. $100,000. Okay, I want you just to set that over here. You've got the Prime Minister, I think it is, of India saying this is going to be a humanitarian crisis because India alone fills 70% of those H-1B visas. And if you're not the kind of Christian nationalist who others other races and you see us all as one human race, that is a concern too. Now, we needed H-1B visas for a number of reasons. We needed these skilled workers from other countries because, in part, college was very expensive for most college students here in America. And most couldn't even afford to go to college, so we had to recruit these kind of skilled workers. Another reason we took them in was employers got by a lot cheaper because they could hire them as contractors and not have to pay them any benefits, health care, retirement, or anything like that, okay? All right, so now Trump is putting such an astronomical fee on it that we're not going to get nearly as many skilled workers, if any. I don't know who can afford that kind of money. Okay. You think this would be devastating for one reason, but I'm going to tell you what it really indicates. You had 60% of CEOs this past month respond to a survey that said because of Trump's horrible economic policies around tariffs and deportations, they are being impacted so badly that they will not be investing in anything new in the United States. No new business, no new manufacturing, no new infrastructure, no new technology, nothing. Now, I could sit here until the end of the year and tell you what one business can provide to a local community. All the vendors and contractors that would be supported because they'd be hired by these businesses. I mean, the list goes on. And that's going to come to an abrupt halt. So that's a whole lot of jobs that we won't have to look forward to for all of the laid off employees here in the United States because of Trump economics. But you're also not going to need the H-1B skilled workers either. That is overall horrific news. And then you have the CEO of Goodwill saying the youth is going to be facing an economic crisis, a joblessness crisis, working at poverty wages because AI is taking over everything. Now, I want you to think about that in the context of these H-1B workers. I want you to think about that in the context of our college graduates. We're also not going to be creating these skilled jobs from our colleges because after the big, beautiful bill was passed, it's made college virtually unaffordable. They gutted so much funding. They gutted student loan opportunities. They gutted everything. So unless you're a wealthy, rich, white family, who's going to be able to afford to get a degree and become our next wave of doctors and you name it? It all together is horrifying economic news. And what Trump and his Project 2025 administration has managed to do, besides making themselves crazy rich, they created so many more billionaires, and they're harming the rest of us. What they managed to do is make it all irreparable. Because other countries are finding out a way to say F you to America, and they're completely bypassing us. And that's gutting our manufacturing. Those are the kind of things we can't get back. And now manufacturing and other businesses are going to open up in other countries, and these skilled workers from other countries are going to go there to work. I don't know how else to say it. You guys just better get out at midterms, and we got to get a majority in the House and in the Senate, and then we need to vote them out. And then we got to pick candidates on the Democratic side who are going to figure out creative ways to fix all this, including the fact that so many jobs now are being replaced by AI. Humans can't survive like this.
Let's not even play coy with this one, okay? Donald Trump took a match to an international powder keg, and folks are out here applauding like he's protecting your grandma's front porch. Be serious. He launched airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities during a time where we can't even afford eggs, rent, or peace of mind. And folks really think that this is some type of strong leadership? No. This is delusion in red, white, and blue. We was already fighting for our lives out here. Low wages, no health care, climate disasters, racist cops, and billionaires robbing the nation blind. And now this orange agent want to add a potential World War III to the mix like it's a flex. He's not protecting America. He's protecting the military-industrial complex. Raytheon stock going up, but your food stamps ain't. They out here screaming, peace through strength. That's not peace. That's provocation. Let me break this down like I'm teaching Sunday school for the real ones, right? They say, Iran chants death to America. We got to hit them before they hit us. But America's been chanting death with drones for decades. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, you name it. Anytime some country dares to control their oil, their economy, their destiny, here comes Uncle Sam, flying in with democracy bombs and Halliburton contracts. And now Iran? Again? Trump's folks argue peace through strength, but that's bullshit. That's not peace, that's intimidation. That's playground bully tactics. That's America saying bow down or we'll blow your children into sand dust. This ain't justice. That's state-sponsored terrorism with a flag on it. So you got time to bomb Iran's energy facilities, but you don't have enough energy to pass clean water bills for Flint. You got time to flex military might, but you can't even pay our soldiers a living wage when they come home. You want to talk about Iran acquiring weapons? But let's not forget, America is the only country to actually drop nuclear bombs on civilians. Twice. And now you want to gatekeep the nuclear club like you forgot Hiroshima? Real talk, America first ain't nothing but a lie. It's never been America first. It's always been elites first. Corporations, defense contractors, MAGA warhawks who make a fortune off of fear and foreign blood. Because when bombs drop, Lockheed Martin cashes checks. When tensions rise, CNN gets ratings. When folks panic, politicians consolidate power. And we, the people, especially black folks, poor folks, working class folks, we end up dying in wars we ain't even start. Paying taxes for bombs we didn't vote for. And watching gas prices go up while billionaires get richer off war. Call it what it is. Trump is not a patriot. He's a pyromaniac. This man doesn't care about protecting you. He doesn't care about peace. He cares about distraction and domination. He's running out of ways to rally his base, so now he's turning to the old racist playbook. Scare them with Muslims and promise to bomb the brown countries into freedom. Same script, different century. We are not pawns in Trump's game of global chicken. And we will not be silent while he drags us into another war to boost his ego and distract from his big, beautiful bill. To every black mother raising a son who might get drafted. To every immigrant family praying that they don't become political scapegoats. And to every young person who just wants a future of peace, purpose, and clean air, stay woke, stay loud, and stay out the battlefield. Because real strength, that ain't dropping bombs. It's refusing to fight for a lie.
So rapture talk is trending, and here I am talking about the solar flash. Are we just two levels of the same crazy? Maybe. But also, there's a scientific basis for what I'm about to tell you. Now listen, truthfully, I don't know a ton about the rapture. I wasn't raised in that religion, so I've only heard it, around. But basically, it's their belief of ascension, but with a literal lifting up of the holiest among us being risen up while the rest of us are left behind to suffer and die. I think die. Maybe it's torture. I don't know. So then the solar flash is similar, different. The solar flash is the belief that energies from the sun are coming down to transform us in our process of ascension, which is essentially the expansion of consciousness. Now, the interesting thing to note about ascension is that so many different cultures throughout time have their version of this. And so the rapture is just yet another, that at a certain point in human evolution, we are going to rise above, maybe literal, maybe metaphorical. It is about becoming more than we've always been as humans, about evolving beyond our contrast, our hate, our suffering, the evils we do to each other. At a certain point, humanity is going to say, no, we're done with this. It's time to move on. So depending on your cultural lens that you are viewing this through, that will affect your beliefs about what's happening. So to me, it's actually no surprise that all of this talk is bubbling up right now, during Pluto in Aquarius. It is, by many different accounts, the ending of one era, and we are on the precipice of the beginning of the new. The main difference among all of these traditions is how you interpret the expansion. What does it look like? Is it something that happens to you? Is it something that you have to choose and then make your choices continually to be the change? And again, this comes down to your cultural lens. In Christianity, there's just a lot of believe and it will happen to you. Whereas other spiritual traditions, it's about being pure of heart. It is about making your choices. It's about being the type of person who is the change in their heart. They're no longer doing those evil deeds, believing them, fearing them. We talk a lot about fear and healing from that here. It's about being the change. Okay, so I did say there was a scientific basis for the solar flash, and there is, not only from history, but what's ongoing now. In 1859, there was what was known as the Carrington event, and it was when a massive electromagnetic energy solar flare burst off the sun. Now, at that time, of course, there wasn't a ton of electronic infrastructure here on Earth, but there was some. And that solar blast not only was so bright that it looked as though the sun was rising, remember my dream? But it did, in fact, knock out all the telecommunications, the electronics, the electrical things they had of the day. This is the basis for those 3 days of darkness prophecies that have been floating around. There's a belief that when or if this happens, we will be plunged into 3 days of darkness. Some people believe it's a spiritual darkness. Some people believe it's literal, that all of our electrical stuff is going to go down that day. Side note for my part, I have not actually received that, but I am tuning in to do a live channeling event. You can get the link to that, you know where. Sorry, I have to be in code. TikTok is coming down on my ass hard. Okay, so the continued scientific basis for that is there are solar flares coming off the sun rapidly. This is not the same thing as the Schumann resonance. This is different. These electromagnetic solar arcs are coming off the sun, and many of them are Earth-facing and many of them are not. And there is wide speculation in the scientific community about what could and would happen should a massive solar flare come toward Earth. Now, what on earth does that have to do with spiritual prophecy? Well, many of us believe that this scientific evidence is proof of what we've been seeing in our visions, what we've been receiving from spirit, that energies are coming to the earth to help transform us, and they will be sent through the sun. Now, for my part, I don't see that we will have bodies lifted into the sky, but hey, what do I know? Now, what I believe is going to happen as these energies come is what's already been happening for several years, because this has been happening. It has been a long, slow process to acclimate us to these energies so that we are having our expansion along the way. It's not a one and done, it's a process too, perhaps leading up to some major event. Many of us have already been through our version of the solar flare. Watch my previous videos. It's me, I'm many people. And it is nothing to be afraid of. Although sometimes when we physically feel these energies, it feels intense, a little bit. Other times it's more of a beautiful, relaxing vibration that helps expand our energy, and it heals us. It literally heals us, transforms our bodies from the inside out. Now, I do have a whole playlist about this called Energy Waves, and I've already done 2 events about this. If you go to my website, you can get that either where? On TikTok, in my bio, or on YouTube. It's in the caption here. The very first Light Circle 1, I talked about this, called Anchor the Light, and my first channeling circle called, what did I call it? The Light is Coming. The Light is Coming is all about this. And then, of course, on September 23rd, the day of the alleged rapture, I am going to be holding a live event where I will tune in and I will find out what the hell is going on. So listen, we could all be wrong together, or we could find out that all of these variations, there's a reason we're talking about it at the same time. Something's about to go down.
Okay, day 243 of Making America Great Again. Really quickly, because I'm tired, bro. Tired. Too tired for this administration. One, Tom Homan, the border czar, was apparently caught undercover by undercover agents in the previous administration that he was taking $50,000 from basically FBI agents or to do what I don't even know what. Like I haven't even read the full story. I just know that birds of a feather flock together, and Tom Homan is just another feather in the administration. We already knew this person was kind of a vile human, but you know, isn't this what Trump's administration is? Period. Okay. ABC, Disney, Hulu, people have been canceling their subscriptions left and right, and they are losing millions of dollars. Millions. People are unhappy that the leader, the president of our United States, can basically use the FCC to do whatever he wants with him when somebody that he doesn't like, criticizes him, make fun of him, anything like that. He feels like he has the right to cancel you, to cancel your show, to cancel your livelihood. This is what he feels like he can do. And honestly, it's not surprising, because today he put on Truth Social basically that he implores Pam Bondi to use his personal attorney, Trump's personal attorney, to go after his political opponents, specifically Adam Schiff and Letitia James at this moment. And it is absolutely insane that as a leader, you would even think about doing that, but then to put it out in the absolute interwebs and implore your to do whatever you want them to do. It is crazy. Then he backtracked it and took it back and basically said that Pam Bondi has been doing amazing, blah, 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 blah. What is happening? We already knew that Trump's second term, Trump 2.0, would be different, because he admitted his first term he had no clue what he was doing. He didn't even think he was going to win. So he didn't have a plan. He didn't have any of that. He just went in and he just did crap. This time he has a plan. And I know that, the people always think that it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy theory unless it's their conspiracy theory. And we already know that what he is doing is absolutely laid out in Project 2025. Absolutely laid out. Period. Done. He is following it to the letter, and everything that is happening is exactly what he meant for it to be. We have learned so much about what the Trump presidency looks like. We are 200 and whatever days I said in, and we have God knows how much longer we have of this. Every single day is some type of Trump administration debacle, him either, calling out for people to be prosecuted and sent to jail because he don't like them, to be canceled. He, has totally, up and down with the tariffs. He has, ousted us, made us like outsiders from Canada and Mexico, who are supposed to be literally our neighbors. Farmers are being devastated, especially the soybean farmers. China isn't buying not one bit of soybeans from them. It is devastating to our farmers. People are losing their jobs. Stock market is, doing its thing. you know? Brown and black people feel very unsafe in this country. And I don't really, I'm not talking about those, I have a brother who loves Trump, right? He loves Trump. He believes that racism racism doesn't exist. Whatever. Black and brown people in this country have been targeted for a long time. And now it just seems like the more and more Trump speaks, the more and more his administration speaks, the more it seems to affect the brown and black people in our society. Just, straight up. This administration is going... My husband, who is not oh my gosh, this is going, woe and death and turmoil and stuff like that. Today, he said, I don't think that our country is going to recover well after this administration. He also said he's afraid to see what else goes on in this administration. That is from somebody who literally doesn't have a mentality of destruction and conspiracy and none of that. But this is what my husband told me today. Yeah. And that's it. That's pretty much it. I still don't see the greatness yet. Also, we were already told that this was going to happen. Not only was it the words coming out of Donald Trump's own mouth on the things that he was going to do, but we've heard Hillary Clinton say, what a Trump administration would be like. We've heard Kamala Harris say what a Trump administration is going to be like. And it seems that the things that they're saying are true. So, was it worth it? Was it worth it? I don't know. It wasn't. I mean, I know it wasn't. But here we are in the hands of an absolute garbage administration who has absolutely no idea what they're doing, not qualified, and I don't know. I don't know anymore. And that's it.
We have bombshell news right now that if Joe Biden did this, Republicans would not just call for his impeachment, but they would call for his removal from office. Except Joe Biden didn't do this, Donald Trump did. And the mainstream media seemingly hasn't even batted an eye. Because over the past 12 hours, what we learned is that number one, Donald Trump shut down a bribery investigation into Tom Homan, one of his top immigration lieutenants, simply because he thought the investigation was politicized. But here's the kicker. There is a videotape of Homan taking in a bag of $50,000 in cash. And despite that, the investigation was shut down. Done. Cover-up complete. That on its own is a major bombshell. But then, here's what happened next. Donald Trump seemingly accidentally posted private messages between him and Attorney General Pam Bondi, in which he urged Attorney General Bondi to go after and prosecute his political opponents. Realizing his mistake quickly after, Donald Trump said Pam Bondi's a great attorney general, nominated one of his personal attorneys to be the next U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, and try to sweep his first text or his first Truth Social post under the rug. If either of these two things happened under the Biden administration, the media would be calling for Joe Biden's head, would be calling for resignations, would be calling for possible impeachment. It's that serious. And folks online are saying that this is essentially Watergate in plain sight. This is Donald Trump posting an abuse of power publicly for the world to see. And while because he's Donald Trump, many in the mainstream simply just bat an eye, move on, and don't talk about it. But I will. Because right now, independent media is standing up when mainstream media falters. So make sure to subscribe, like, comment, share so that more people see this video, because right now, this truth is urgent. So let's start with the first, Tom Homan. Tom Homan is Donald Trump's border czar. He is responsible for Donald Trump's mass deportation policy. He's leading the effort to conduct essentially the largest mass deportation effort in American history. Whether or not that actually happens, unclear right now. They've been having some trouble, right? They haven't been able to deport as many people as they wanted to, but this is Homan who runs around calling people illegal. As AOC has said, look who's illegal now. Tom Homan. Tom Homan, back last year in Texas, was the subject of an FBI sting. FBI agents were undercover. They had a bag of cash, $50,000 in cash to be exact. They walked up to Homan, started talking to him, posing as businessmen. They wanted government contracts, specifically government contracts dealing with immigration and the border. That's what they wanted, and they knew their target. Their target was Tom Homan, who ran Donald Trump's or helped with immigration policy on the campaign, helped Donald Trump with immigration policy back during his first administration, was in Obama's administration. I mean, Tom Homan has been around the block, right? He served in Republican and Democratic administrations, and these agents were like, well, who better to have an undercover sting? Who better to try to give money to get government contracts than Tom Homan, the guy that's going to run the thing? And well, they walk up to him, and Tom Homan accepts. He says, I'll take the money. He takes the money. $50,000 cash, bang, right in his pocket, right then and there. Only problem, Tom Homan isn't yet a government official. And so some are saying, well, because he's not a government official yet, it's not technically bribery because he can't actually do anything with the money. He has no sway over government contracts. Fine. So what does the FBI do? The FBI says, we'll wait until Tom Homan takes office or Donald Trump takes office, and then we'll just continue the investigation. And we'll see if Tom Homan acts on the promise that he made to these undercover agents. Before he was able to do that, before he could act, the FBI, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, the Department of Justice shut it down. And the White House said that it was a politicized investigation, shut it down. Cover-up complete. No one ever knew about it until now. But then, hours later, Donald Trump decided to put out a Truth Social post and say, quote, Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put in a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who was never going to do this job. That's why two of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit. And that, we had no case. No, I fired him. And there is a great case. And many lawyers and legal pundits say so. Lindsay is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now, President DJT. That was a private message likely to Pam Bondi that he probably accidentally posted on his Truth Social. Well, people made fun of that. The true post, at least, is more sinister than people realize. It is Donald Trump in real time saying, Pam Bondi, my attorney general, who you are supposed to be independent from the White House, go after and prosecute my political opponents. And here's the kicker. The Eastern District of Virginia does not have evidence to charge any of these people. That is why the current U.S. or former U.S. attorney was ousted, because he said, I don't have the evidence. How do you want me to prosecute a case against Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, for mortgage fraud when we don't have the evidence? And well, Trump said, screw the evidence and screw you. And so he pushed him out. Gone. Done. Moved on. Next, Donald Trump realizes, oh wait, hold on. I think I made a mistake. Uh-oh. What do I need to do? Well, let's tweet out something nice about Pam Bondi. And he says, Pam Bondi is doing a great job as Attorney General of the United States. She's a very careful, very smart, loves our country, but needs a tough prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia, like my recommendation, Lindsay Halligan, to get things moving. What we don't need is a Democrat-endorsed Republican. I will be nominating Lindsay Halligan to be the United States Attorney in this very important part of our great country. She will be fair, smart, and will provide desperately needed justice for all. Lindsay Halligan was one of Donald Trump's personal attorneys on the campaign trail in the Jack Smith investigation. She previously she wasn't a criminal defense attorney. She was an insurance lawyer who turned criminal defense attorney to help Donald Trump. But now she's about to serve in the Eastern District of Virginia, one of the most powerful prosecutor offices in the entire country. The prosecutor office that honestly deals with a lot of terrorism cases, a lot of DC related issues that aren't specifically in the district, known to be one of the most powerful offices. He wants her to go after his political opponents. He's going to install the person, whether or not Pam Bondi likes it or not, who will do it for him. So get ready for indictments, get ready for prosecutions, whether or not the evidence is there. And that is bigger than Watergate, because that is a president of the United States using his power to go after political opponents without a shred of evidence. And while the mainstream media bats an eye, I refuse, because this could define the future of our country. So make sure to spread the word, like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work, because I'll never cape to this White House.